Good afternoon, guys. It's Wednesday, which means that this is a late upload. And the reason it's late this week is because I just completely forgot I had to make a video yesterday. This week, AP Lit was actually today. I didn't take the AP Lit test because it turns out I don't get credit for it, so I was like, why would I do that? That seems kind of dumb. Yeah, so AP Lit was today, and in honor of AP Literature and my excellent English teachers throughout the years, and less than excellent English teachers sometimes, I decided that I would make a list of basically all the significant works of literature, I guess, that I've read throughout high school and middle school. And it was a really long list, and so I was going to go through everything and review everything, but that's way too much time, and I don't want to do it. So I'm just gonna go through my top 5 books and my least favorite 5 books and review those. A lot of things are not going to be on here that I really enjoyed, but I narrowed it down to these 10 works. So let's start off with, I guess, bottom number 5. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. And I don't like this book because everybody is so dramatic. Everybody's like, oh my god, he doesn't love me anymore. Or does he? Ooh. And that's basically the entire book. Like, I'm dead serious. The entire plot of this book could be solved with a simple conversation. Or like 7, because it happens over the course of 30 years, but you get the point. A Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving, another book I read this year. So generally in novels, religion and comedy do not mix whatsoever. A Prayer for Owen Meany, on the other hand, throws that rule right out the window and does a great job with it. Owen Meany, the eponymous character, is this really small kid with a really unique voice, to the point where his voice throughout the entire book is just written in all caps. It's the story of Owen and his friend Johnny, who is the narrator, growing up in New England, and it's a wonderful story that explores religion and friendship, and I highly recommend it. Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I don't like this book. Sorry. It was kind of boring. Yeah, it was just kind of also really depressing, which I guess was the point. But also the ending scene is so creepy. My top 4 book actually breaks the rule of I don't like Victorian literature. It's Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy, which I suppose you could consider Victorian light. What I liked about Thomas Hardy is that his character is a lot more relatable than most normal Victorian characters, in that he writes about like commoners, and basically there's also a really good love triangle in Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I fucking hate the ending of this book. It makes me so mad, but that's part of what makes it so good. The Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare. This play is boring, and it's not just because I missed the first half of the play when we were reading it in class, and so I didn't know what was going on for the entire second half, but I just didn't like it. The only thing it's good for is basically the Shylock pound of flesh speech and Portia going off. Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I know this is a controversial pick because I know a lot of people don't like Holden Caulfield as a narrator and a character, but I absolutely love him. He's just sick of everything, and I think he's kind of become, well, a spokesperson for a lot of angsty teens. It just gives for some great thinking moments and some great emotional moments and some great done with society moments, and I really like it. I actually have a copy of number 2, bottom number 2. It is Black Boy by Richard Wright. So Richard Wright is more famous for Native Son, which is a novel. This is nonfiction, and this is about him growing up, and it was really dull and boring. Like, I don't like this book at all. The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. This is a mesmerizing account of the Vietnam War told through an anthology of short stories. I think that each story has its own merit and brings something to the table, and whether it's 2 pages or 30 pages, some of them will stick with you no matter what. I have a thing for unreliable narrators, Holden Caulfield as an example. That's also a hint to what my number 1 book will be, but Tim O'Brien takes it one step further, because while The Things They Carried is about war, it's also about why humans tell stories, and to do that, Tim O'Brien is an unreliable reliable author. I'll leave you to figure out what that means. So my bottom number 1 book I also have a copy of. It's The Odyssey by Homer. Is this book really deserving of my number 1? Yeah, maybe. I just absolutely hated this book. It's such a shame because it actually has a really good premise with Odysseus coming back from the Trojan War and stuff and his 10-year journey and getting back home. It was really sweet to see like his dog be like, oh, it's Odysseus, even though he's disguised as another person, and him just shoot the arrow through the 9 axes and stuff. But it does not make up for all of the dull, boring parts of this epic, I guess, because it's an epic poem. And in addition to that, it was a slog to get through too, just like Black Boy. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. It's definitely the one that stuck with me for the longest because I read this book in 8th grade, and the story of Scout and Jem and Dill and Atticus and Tom Robinson and Boo Radley has stuck with me ever since, and it will stick with me for the rest of time. I think it's just a brilliant portrayal of race relations in the South, and the idea of using a 6-year-old girl as your narrator to view that is just brilliant. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about this book that hasn't already been said. So that's the list. That's the top 5 and the bottom 5. If you like this, or if you want to see a complete list, let me know. Maybe I'll do it. It would be a really long video though. If you have another book recommendation, please let me know in the comments. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share it around with your friends. So if you decide to read one of these books and you use it on an AP literature essay, you're welcome.